Hey gang, welcome back to chapter 22 of the Crucible Chronicles, where we are once again playing some Dark Tidings. Super excited for this. I do want to say sorry for not putting out a video on Friday. I know I should be all hyped for the Dark Tidings, but just had some IRL stuff that I was taking care of and didn't get to it. So should hopefully be back on track here. And yeah, it's just Dark Tidings as far as the eye can see. So without further ado, let's hop into today's game. All right, here we go. Let's do this. So we got some Dark Tidings on Dark Tidings. Logos, Sanctum, Unfathomable. Logos, Sanctum, Fish People. And I still have not played enough Dark Tidings to know what many of these cards are, which is pretty exciting. We have, this is quite nice, a library card. A library card to start with. And I have double phase shift, so that's pretty nice. Tempted to just play the library card. Well, let's hold on to it. Let's try this. I really don't think that the trick to this deck is the logos. So I should probably mention I have played this deck a number of times. I played this deck a number of times since the last episode, and I will admit I have continued to not have much luck with it. I think that one of the tricks that can make it work is if we can get this Primus Unguis on the board, and then potentially get out our Bilge Warden, like beefed up from the Primus Unguis, try to keep that on the board and help us control the tide a little bit, because we have some good house cheating. We have some good house cheating with Diplomat Agung, and then the Operative Espion. So in theory, we can use that to get some value out of the Bilge Warden. But again, you know, it's sort of a frail solution, especially considering it all relies basically on the Bilge Warden, on the Bilge Warden or the Primus Unguis sticking to the board. So, all right, we got an Eddy coming down. I think I'm honestly just gonna play this library card. We'll just do the one turn library card. We can get the triple phase shift. So either way, we're talking basically a lot of cards that we can play on this library card turn. Maybe just out of sheer card advantage, we can make some stuff happen. I'm not entirely sure. I do see there's a General Sherman in this deck, so we'll just play Logos and play the library card. End our turn, see what we draw. Okay, we got Shield You Later, which isn't exactly what I was hoping. To draw into. But that's okay. I mean, triple phase shift, drawing cards each time seems pretty good. We'll see what our opponent does. I will pull up this deck list again. It seems like there's quite a few creatures. We got Staunch Knight, Lady Lorena Bulwark, Double Irian the Circumspect. I assume those are creatures. Sir Bever, Marshal Ewer, the Grey Augur. Okay, so they got Talmage Steelheart. Let's see if we can get a absolutely stacked Talmage Steelheart. That would be pretty sweet. I'm definitely tempted to take this library card turn. I honestly think I just kind of want to do it. I have no clue if they have any type of artifact control. So, and I know I think they have is it Kaup? I think Kaup it would give me a hard time. I'm not entirely certain, but we'll take a Logos turn. We'll do the library card. We'll play a phase shift. So we have one off-house card we can play. We have two off-house cards that we can play. Be nice to get something else. So let's play one of those off-house cards, this Undignathus. Okay, we got the Cornican Octavia. We can now think twice the phase shift. All right, so that's interesting. Crushing Charge. Right, that would get rid of both those things. Okay, so that would be our second off-house card. We'll play the Bilge Warden to raise the tide. We can get Primus Unguis out there too. That could be nice. Archives the Universal Keelhawk. Wow, just like we planned. Let's throw down Primus Unguis. And then we are all out of draws there. So we'll play this, the Talmage Steelheart, the Mechabui, and there you go. I guess it was the crushing charge we used. We still have the oh no you didn't. Still have the oh no you didn't. We can follow this up with basically either a Star Alliance turn, because we can get some value off the Diplomat of Gung to use Primus Unguis. I think that would probably be the best play. I hope I played the right number of cards, right? Yeah, I did. Crushing Charge, Undignathus, and Primus Unguis were my off-house cards. Cleared the board, so that's pretty nice. Static Charge, here we go, putting some damage down. We'll put some damage onto the Steelhearts and in the Undignathus. Quite interesting that they opted to put that there and not next to the Bilge Warden. But, I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. That's pretty fortunate. All right, Brain Eater coming down. They are taking another Logos turn, so granted they had the Eddy to stuff something away. What do we want to do here? So we can Light of the Archons. I feel like I want Light of the Archons on the Bilge Warden. Oh, and I can put the Shield you later. So let's do, maybe it's a bit of a slow play, but again, I want to protect this Bilge Warden. So we'll take a Star Alliance turn. We will throw down Light of the Archons onto the Bilge Warden. I think we'll throw down Shield you later onto the Bilge Warden. We'll throw down Diplomat Gung, who's going to make a creature Star Alliance. So we'll do Primus Unguis, who's going to reap, give everything +2 power. There we go. At least our Bilge Warden is safe from the Brain Eater. At least the Bilge Warden is safe from the Brain Eater. We have this Dino You Didn't. Which is nice to have sitting around. We got the Brain Eater, but we haven't drawn into the Carpe Venum, which as a fine wine pairs quite nicely with the Dino You Didn't. But fortunately, we have a second one of them. So, all right, opponent going back into Logos, really trying to play out this Logos, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. Definitely thinking I'm wanting to take a Saurian turn here, though. And we had, was it a chain from Crushing Charge? Yeah, so we had a chain from Crushing Charge, but because we ended our turn with 6 cards in hand, we didn't drop that chain last turn, so we dropped it, before last turn, so we dropped it at the beginning of this turn, or rather at the end of last turn. Anyways, I basically just said that in the most confusing possible way that doesn't make any sense. Opponent is playing Theory or Conjecture. Archive the top 2 cards of your deck, or play the top card of your deck. They're going to play the top card of their deck. Horrid Sinin. Any damage dealt by this creature's power during a fight destroys the damaged creature. Ooh, okay. So that's pretty nice. That is pretty nice. Reaps with the Brain Eater. And could definitely cause some trouble for my Primus Unguis. So, hey, look at this. We get the Forge. I think we take a Saurian turn. I'm going to lose this Undignathus, but I'll replace it with another one, so I think it's okay. We'll take a Saurian turn. We're not going to pick up our Archives. We'll go ahead and Reap with Primus Unguis. Just make this stuff even bigger. Undignathus is going to fight that thing and die, sadly. We'll throw down the Medicus Lacus. So while the tide is high, I can spend Ember on my friendly creatures as if they're in my pool. Throw down an Undignathus over here, and Cornic and Octavia, and we'll Dino You Didn't, which fortunately is only enemy creatures. Oh, there we go. Got the second Dino You Didn't. Dino You Didn't. I know it says Dino You Didn't, but it just doesn't feel right to say it like that. Doesn't feel right to say it like that. So far, our opponent has taken, what, four Logos turns. So they've got to be building some stuff up. I'll be very curious to see what it is. There's some stuff I haven't seen here. I don't recall having seen Call of the Void, but perhaps we see it. Perhaps we see it soon. The Flamegill Enforcer comes down. Action capture 3. Bubbles. Bubbles. Put an enemy creature on top of its owner's deck. Oh yeah, there you go. The Primus. Primus would be pretty good for that. So that's pretty nice. Could have assumed there was probably going to be something like that in this deck. Hey, it's good we got the Light of the Archons and Shield You later on the Bilge Warden though, so it still has some protection. It still has +2 power, +2 armor. Well, +2 power, +4 armor. Interesting. So they opted to take the Bilge Warden. I think I'm okay with that. Sad that it loses some of its potency. Oh, there you go. General Sherman. Yo, Gabba. Works for me. We'll say Star Alliance here. We'll play the Static Collection Array, I think. It seems like it can definitely come back to bite me, but and then we'll stun the General Sherman with the Techno Babble. There we go. We got a Carpe Venum, so happy about that. We can also take another Logos turn here. Call of the Void. Exhaust a creature. If it was already exhausted, destroy it instead, and its controller loses 1. That's if it's already exhausted. And they did have 2 of them. 2 of the Call of the Wilds. Oh, nice. So we get a second key. The Mechabui is actually doing some work. I don't think our opponent has caught on to what's going on there. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to call Logos, and we're going to throw down this Universal Key Lock. Throw down the Universal Key Lock. I still have this Bilge Warden. We're still going to call Logos. We'll pick up our archives. So we could Bilge Warden, then we could take the Tide back, which I don't feel great about. I mean, we can definitely play the Universal Key Lock. That's fine. Do I want to archive the 2 cards? Is it worth the 3 chains? Probably not, but let's try it. So we'll Bilge Warden, give them the Tide. They archive 1. We'll take it back. This is silly. Oh, I should have played this thing first. Oh, terrible mistakes. I could have got a second card archived. That's okay. We're learning. General Sherman, I didn't notice got unstunned there. We've got a Decadence here, so we actually can use the Bilge Warden potentially on a Saurian turn. So that's nice. One thing that this deck does have, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier on, is it has some okay house cheating with Diplomat Gung, Operative Espion. It's got the Decadence, so that's quite nice. Each of Grey Augur's neighbors gain 1. Marshal Ewer. Play fight, raise the tide. Okay. And then Sir Bever with Taunt. Very nice. I am going to be drawing into my Grand Alliance Council at some point here. So not super worried about all of this. I suppose I could... Well, I think we're going to take a Saurian turn. We'll take a Saurian turn. We'll Carpe Venum. Carpe Venum to put a number on General Sherman and the Gray Augur, I guess. Now the question is, do we kill the Flame Gill, or do we kill the General Sherman to bring back all of our creatures? Not sure. Let's do it. Choose a creature to put into play. Oh dear. Just put everything to the right. Bubbles to the right. Cornican Octavia to the left. I don't know what else I don't know what else I have in here. I can't see all the creatures. Oh, Diplomat Agung. I guess we'll put there. The Steelheart. This is funny. That's funny. So I think the benefit here is, oh, hold on a second here. Oh, these are all exhausted. So I could Decadence to use the Bilge Warden. I'm sorry, Decadence to use Diplomatic Gung. I could also use the Primus Unguis. Let's do this. We'll Decadence, Exalt Ready and Use, Diplomatic Gung is going to Reap. And we are currently playing the House of Saurian. I have to remind myself when playing this deck. And we'll play the Bilge Warden, or activate the Bilge Warden to Reap. That also enrages the Flamegill Enforcer, so quite pleased with that. And we did get the Grand Alliance Council, so that's really nice. We also I guess are not at check technically, because of the Universal Key Lock. I would say sneaky check, because oh no, we only have one Mechabui down. Yeah, the other one's in our hand, so never mind. No sneaky check whatsoever. No sneaky check whatsoever. What do we have in here? We have a Stunner, the Techno Babble, so that could be good. We are going to see a Sanctum turn here, it looks like. Gain 1 equal to Irian the Circumspect's armor. That's cool. Here, heal or harm. Fully heal a creature and gain 1, or ready and fight with a friendly creature. Okay, let's see what they opt to do. I think they could have fought with Marshal Ewer into something to get that to raise the tide. Maybe they're planning to do that because it is a play fight ability. Oh, I remember the fight thing. It would be handy because it also gains 1 number from Gray Augurs, being a neighbor of Gray Augur. Okay, Flamegill Enforcer fights Primus Unguis. That's actually fine. I think we're past. I think we're past that. I guess we do have 1 Ember right here. 1 Ember. And if we happen... Oh, yeah, we don't have the second Mechabui down. Okay. Cool, then. So, we have a Star Alliance turn, I think, that we want to take. Let's go ahead and take the Star Alliance turn. We'll pick up our archives. I think so. We'll throw down a second Lieutenant Kirker to the right. We'll Technobabble. I think we probably need to Technobabble right there, just so they can't generate a bunch of Ember. We got this Stunner onto Kirker, who's going to Reap. Reap and stun the Flamegill Enforcer. I think so. We'll throw out this Kinkin. Then reap with Diplomat and Gung. Do Star Alliance. Guess we'd grab Cornic and Octavia, who will capture 2, pulling our opponent off check. All right, so this has been... we have these 2 cards. I actually kind of want to hold on to them. Kind of hold on to them. I'm sort of assuming our opponent's going to maybe take the tide at some point. They certainly need to at this point. All right, they're calling Logos. Haven't seen a Logos turn in a little while. Feel like they're running out of juice. Oh, they might have the Submersive Principle though. I think that's some version of. I think that's some version of Effervescent Principle. So we'll see what that looks like. Fortunately, they don't have much on the board, but they do have a theory or conjecture. So let's see what they opt to do. See what they opt to do. Oh, nice. So this is help. Your opponent cannot play more than 1 card of each card type. Action, artifact, creature, upgrade each turn. All right. So that's not bad. Australis Seaborg comes down. The real question is, the $100 question, the question of the hour is that submersive principle? Some of these words are so hard. Each player loses 1. If the tide is high, each player loses half their Ember instead. So I think a bit of a misplay on our opponent's part. I would say if they want to fix it, then they could. But I think maybe this might be a newer player, or maybe just someone playing kind of early on with Dark Tidings. I would say I'm pretty early on with Dark Tidings as well, but because the Submersive Principle, each player loses 1. If the tide is high, each player loses half their Ember instead, rounding down the loss. So I think our opponent just simply needed to switch the tide in order to make that happen. Now I'm not entirely sure it is in the long run gonna make a huge difference. I mainly say that not out of any type of arrogance or anything, but I don't think they're dealing with this board, and I have like a pretty nice out here with this Grand Alliance Council. So I can basically, reap for 1, 2, 3, 4. Diplomatic Gung will give me another reap for 5. And then I can kind of wipe the board, throw down Operative Espion, raise the tide, and then reap for another one. There we go, Positron Bolt. So they must have drawn into the Positron Bolt from the Brain Eater. And if they take the tide right now, they actually put me. Oh, I guess I forgot about that. Well, if they took the tide either way, it would have increased my key cost by 1 from the static collection array, and it would have prevented me from using Medicus Lacus's ability, which allowed me to spend that Ember off of Diplomatic Gung. But there you have it. There you have it. Definitely an interesting game. I think that one way this, if this deck is kind of allowed to do some of the funny stuff with Primus Unguis, and then kind of the important part, and I don't recall if I mentioned this in the last video, but I think after having played it, probably 10, I think I maybe got 10 or 13 games with this deck so far. It really does want to play the Tide game, and it has some tools to do that. The double Mecha Buoy effectively forces your opponent to have to be thinking about the Tide. And again, the Mecha Buoy is at the start of each player's turn. If the Tide is high for that player, they gain 1. Now we have 2 of them in the deck, so It's basically like this effectively threatens check at 4, and in order to deal with it, you either have to, I suppose, raise the key cost or take the tide. And it seems to be that probably the better option is to take the tide. But when we're playing against a deck that doesn't necessarily have a lot of like reproducible ways to take the tide, then that's where I think we can start to get some advantage for sure. And now this deck looks like has at least this Devil Australis Seaborg, so that those would have been nice to have down to kind of like play the tide game a little bit more with me. I think one of the fallbacks, of course, with what I was saying and wanting to play the tide game is that I really only have a single reach advantage, and then I think this Bilge Warden is really my only other option in terms of raising the tide outside of using the Omni effect on the tide card itself. So despite the fact that I think the deck probably wants to play the tide game, it doesn't necessarily have a huge amount of ways to raise the tide. That's why I think kind of either protecting the Bilge Warden with Light of the Archons, Stunner, and Shield You later, or possibly in addition getting the Primus Unguist down and doing like a reach advantage to capture 3 onto the Primus Unguist to give everything a little bit more, just a little bit more power. Again, protecting the Bilge Warden. I think that those are all good things. One other thing that this deck does well in terms of the Bilge Warden is it has the double Kirker and the single Lapisaurus. So it does have a little bit of taunt. You can kind of protect the Bilge Warden in that way. But as it's just a 2-power creature, you're pretty limited. You're pretty limited in terms of how you can protect it. And taunt only does so much against, just direct damage. So something like the Shield You later almost just always has to go on the Bilge Warden if they're drawn in that order. But yeah, so that is one more game in the books with Gavelgil the Librarian. I don't recall exactly what this puts my record with this deck. I think it's maybe like 4-10 or something, 4-12. And I feel like I've kind of started to understand more about how the deck wants to play. But at the same time, I think the deck definitely struggles in a lot of matchups. Because the way that it wants to play, or at least the way it seems that it wants to play, from my perspective, is to play again that tide game, and just the pieces are a little too fragile to get the recurring ability to raise the tide and keep the tide in my favor. Now, if we can do that, and actually, I will say kind of one of the additional benefits, and sorry for rambling on here for a second, but one of the additional benefits of the tide game happening is I think this deck actually prefers if my opponent is taking the tide away from me as well, because we have stuff like that Operative Espion, which of course our opponent can get some value out of, but it helps to kind of give us a little bit more ability to activate some different creatures on our board. So I think like a little bit of back and forth is nice, and the us being able to raise the tide with the Bilge Warden effectively for free, not having to pay the chains penalty, is I think how the deck can potentially perform better. Now I will also mention one last thing, that we did have a pretty fortunate logo starting hand, so I just want to acknowledge that. But I think as we kind of saw, it didn't really accomplish a whole lot. Like it certainly gave us a good board presence to start, but like the logos in this deck is kind of a little bit like weirdly flashy with the phase shifts and the think twice and the library card. But it's the kind of library card or library access turn where you just like, yeah, you could put some stuff out, but you're not necessarily going to accomplish much on that specific turn. It's more of your objective with the library card is trying to give yourself like an incremental advantage, like a card advantage in subsequent turns. Because at the end of the day, even if I play every single Logos card, I'm going to have, 5 artifacts on the board and 3 creatures. And that's it. In Logos, I should say. So it's not like I'm going to be planning to call Logos anytime soon. And the only real reason I would want to is for the Bilge Warden, which fortunately this deck has ways to utilize off house. So anyways, I will be back later this week on Friday. We're going to put one more game in with this one, and then we're going to open up another deck and put 3 games in with that. So I do hope you'll stick around for those episodes. I will catch you all later.